Place now. Okay, well, we've got a bit to learn, all right. Sorry, I'm just faffing around. Okay, well, let's begin because really people don't want to sit here watching us wrangle with Google.
Faff around.
Again.
Again, no, we've done that.
Yeah, we've done that. Thanks so much for joining us and playing along with our little faffiness, hey? So where to begin on intuition, Carly?
Well, I think just because we have been faffing around, perhaps for just a few breaths, we'll just tune into our own inner core and bring the energy back in to this place, to this space, because as we get a bit, as we go out of ourselves to try and work things out technologically, we can get quite ungrounded and scattered and start to show off our brand new pants and things like that. So, so if we just bring it nicely back in, and for those of you that are here with us now or joining us later, then, or if you're listening to this later on in the future, just bring your awareness to you and just begin to inhale through your belly and feel it expand up through your heart, and then exhale back out through your belly and down through your heart. And just feel yourself coming into this moment here now with your breath, with your body, with your mind, with myself and with Megan and with whoever else is here now and joining us along the way. Each of us is a little peg in the tent of our temple at the moment, bringing us together to talk about intuition today. So we've called this a little party in the temple kind of thing. We've only invited our women who are already in the temple because we're obviously still figuring out how to do this, and we also wanted to offer to you women something more to help ground what we've already been running through in soulplan.tv. And so Megan and I just really wanted to have a chat with you and amongst ourselves, and then with you as much as you want to come in and ask questions. We've got a few vague ideas that we want to get across, or a vague structure of the ideas that we want to get across. And then, yeah, so just pop up. I can see the what do you call it, the chat questions area where you can ask a new question.
Yes,
so I can see them. Yes, the feed. Thank you, darling. So I can see there, Megan. I hope you can too. But we can keep an eye on that as well as on each other and where we're going, and take it from there.
Yeah, and I would invite you both onto the video if I knew how, and I tried to with you, Connor. So we'll see. And Rachel, there's 3 or 4 Rachels. So Rachel Plotkin. So I don't want to send 4 invites out to women who I don't know. So we'll see if we can move through this. All right. So thanks for that, Carly. Yeah. We need it to be an event, Connor, because that's how it gets recorded.
Yeah.
So that's. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Oh my goodness, I don't see what you're saying. Where are you reading? Her.
Oh, Connor said teenager says you made it an event, not a hangout.
Oh, it's nice to have one of those on board. I haven't got one of those.
Okay. Let's just move into the content, honey. Like you said, like you directed us into. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So I think let's start right at the very beginning with a definition for the word intuition. What do you think? Because it's nice to define what it is we're talking about, especially when it's something as vague as the word intuition can be. So I'm not sure if I'm putting you on the spot here, Megan, but and I'm not sure I've even got a definition right now that I can concisely put into place. So what have you got? And and then I'll chime in too.
Sure. So for me, intuition is about being very much in the present moment, and not just to my personal self, but to my whole being, so my full expanded self, through the personal self, through the soul self, through all of those subtle levels. And I see intuition very much as being a normal form of communication, but it's not a common form of communication that we use. And that we're all very, very intuitive, but we don't have the decoding skills to be able to understand in a moment-to-moment basis what's showing up for us. So some of our work, and I think some of my work in this, has been about learning how to decode my intuition. So what's mine, what's someone else's, what's in the collective consciousness, what's my shadow, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, hey? Yeah. So yeah, I like to take intuition out of the realm of channelers and psychics and mediums and all that kind of thing, and bring it very much into our human understanding that it's there for all of us, and that it's available to us. It's a very true and great form of communication with the subtler levels of awareness and consciousness. And it takes quite a while, to learn how to really speak the language of intuition. Yeah. So that's a little bit of how I see it. Yeah. How about you, Carly?
Well, I think for me, intuition has become the byproduct, if you like, of getting to know the connection and the language that occurs between my brain and my heart and my body. And that seems to be the biological function of the autonomic nervous system and how that moves through my body. So for me, I've been learning through my yogic practice and meditation practice and all of that, as well as through my hypnotherapy work that I do, learning how to, through the breath, which I see as my soulfulness, the soulful breath that comes in and out, and infuses my body and expands throughout my being, is that which is connecting what's going on in the multi-different level layers of my brain and my mind through to the consciousness that is forever evolving through my heart space, and then learning on a more subtle level how to deal with the physical, gross expression that the body puts through. So to me, it's really learning the language of this being that I know as my me, my I, and then how to read it without being too lost or caught up in being it, if that makes sense.
Say that little last piece again, hon.
Nice little, yeah, without being it. So I don't want to get caught up in being my emotions and being my thoughts and thinking that that is the truth of who I am. So instead, I want to be able to express myself through that, as well as witness it and understand what it's saying, so that I can then respond intuitively as well as intelligently in any given moment.
Yeah. So when you're really too immersed in the emotional content of consciousness, then it's hard to stay in the driver's seat. In a way, we get carried along with our emotions or our beliefs or shadow or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's hard for the soul to stay in the driver's seat, and I think that's what it's really deeply all about, is the soul being able to be the soulfulness that I am through here, and for that part to be in the driver's seat. And I think what I've sort of come is that the intuition is the soul speaking to me through those three aspects of my being, which is in the brain and the heart and the body. And the soul speaks through that because the breath comes and goes from the body.
So the brain and the heart and the body. Yeah, nice.
Yes. And so the connection between all of them is the nervous system. And I've come to see, I think, the nervous system as being the language of the soul, being a conglomerate of those three things. That's where I've come to with it recently.
But whenever you say nervous system, I think of our physical nervous system and our central nervous system, right? So that nerve pathway.
Yeah, and I think But you know, the more I know that's maybe a little bit more of a left field way of viewing it, but the more I sit in meditation and the more I study how this being works, depending on how I feed it, with physical food as well as loving thoughts and kind deeds and all of this sort of thing, how I feed it really affects how I understand how it's speaking to me on a soulful level.
So it allows openness and clarity, or not?
Yeah,
depending on the choices that you make in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you wonderful women are still with us, and I think that you are, but I'm not sure, and you have comments around how intuition shows up for you, or even questions around that, we'd really love to hear them. That would be great. If you could throw a little bit of that in there. Let me just scroll down. Oh, right. So would you call, this is from Connor, would you call intuition a kind of intelligence, like we describe multiple intelligences, like linguistic, mathematical, etc.? What would you say to that, Carly?
I might have to get you to read it again because I was too busy trying to find it, and I can't find it. I don't know where it is, so I'm just going to hear you.
Select it, right. So, Connor asks, would you call intuition a kind of intelligence, like how we describe multiple intelligences, like linguistic, mathematical, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it is. And I think it's an absolute line of intelligence all in its own right, just like you said, like there's the line of intelligence for finances and morals and ethics and sexual development and emotional and blah, blah, blah. Intuition, I fully believe, is a line of intelligence, absolutely. Yeah.
Very
and
interesting.
I think in addition to that, if we don't pay attention to this line of development, then it'll still speak to us, but we won't be able to understand it, and we'll misinterpret it, and it will get confusing, and there's where we can become quite erratic and caught up in our, like I was saying before, our emotions or our feelings or our thoughts, and without really hearing the deeper wisdom that's coming from the interaction of our multi-leveled self.
Yeah, because to be able to really hear and take forward our intuition, we need to know ourselves very, very well. We need to know our process really well, and our story in this lifetime, and other lifetimes as well, fairly well, to be able to have an understanding of what's showing up within us. And I think when people and when clients first start kind of working, there is quite an influx of intuition that comes in, but it can feel like a bit muddy, a bit flooded, because there's a whole lot of other stuff inside their system that they're sensing, seeing, feeling as well. And so it takes some time and some understanding of one's own process to be able to filter through. Well, that's some trauma from my early life.
Yeah.
As opposed to that's very clear intuition around this choice. And how do we really know the difference between the two?
Yeah, and I think just to pull out the key point I think that you said there is knowing our story, and then you backed it all up with that beautiful expansion on that, but really knowing our story. And I think that's a lot about what Soul Plan's about, and what both of each of our work that we do individually in our own practices is about, is really helping people get to know their story so that they can stop reacting to it and stop actually being it, and start just going, all right, so that's my story. Off we go. Now what am I going to do with my story?
But don't get caught up in the story. I have an understanding that it is the play of our life, so that we can disidentify from it, have some space from it. And that's where the nervous system comes in, because if we don't know our story, then our nervous system thinks that we're still in the past, and it's reacting as we, well, I believe anyway, as we were in the past. So that re-traumatizing nervous system gets activated again. And when that's going on, it's very, very difficult, in my experience, to feel that intuitive impulse, that understanding, that vision, that hearing, whatever it is, however it shows up for you.
Yeah, and that's another very important point, is that the autonomic nervous system, which is directed and guided by our subconscious mind, does not discern the difference between past, present, and future. So it thinks that whatever's going on right here and now is occurring in this very moment. Even if it was from childhood, from a past life, from a traumatic thing that happened 20 minutes ago or 20 years ago or 200 years ago or 2,000 years ago or 20 years in the future, because we've projected ourselves into a situation that maybe hasn't even occurred in linear time yet. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes on in the nervous system that when we are grounded in an intelligence of intuition that really does serve us, then we can start to hear the story about what's going on.
Yeah, and Connor asked a great question, well, you know, made a great comment there. And don't you think part of the problem is that we develop other brain thinking stuff, but not intuition?
Oh gosh, I think that's the case for a lot of the stuff that you and I work in. The spiritual line of development is one that's gotten totally stuck at a mythic level. You know, and that's disastrous. That's the understanding of a 7-year-old, and that's what the majority of the population of adult humanity see as spirituality. So then we bring something like intuition into it. So many people think, oh, what a load of woo-woo that is. But it's a whole nother language that we can learn that has an intelligence beyond it that's way more awake and aware and conscious, as well as intelligent, way more so than what our so-called conscious mind is. Because in fact that mind is actually the most unconscious of all of our minds, because it's totally asleep. It's just on autopilot.
Hallelujah to the heart mind.
Bring it on.
But don't you think there's quite a polarity there? So either with this intuition stuff, either it's at that 7-year-old's level of intuition, or you know, sorry, it's either thinking it's all woo-woo and all rubbish and, you know, all that kind of thing, or it's the angels told me to do this, spirit told me to do this. There's an immaturity in our not taking responsibility, where really what I see Spirit and Soul wants us to do is to grow into our own responsible awareness of intuition and own that for ourselves, own that wisdom for ourselves, own that power for ourselves. And that's not dissing, you know, any kind of spiritual support that we have. That's absolutely there, but I do believe that they're cheerleading us to grow into the fullness of our own spiritual expression.
Yeah, beautifully put. And there's something in all of that. What did you just say? Well, you said it's almost an immature way of viewing spirituality, if you like, or intuition, that and giving the responsibility away to someone else. If we are going to look at it from a more mature perspective, then there's a luminosity or a higher self version of light and intelligence and wisdom that we can draw from and bring down through our physical being, through our soulfulness, through our heart space and out into the world as our own, what am I trying to say, as our own efforts, as our own, this is what I'm doing and I'm taking responsibility for it and I'm diving in. And I'm being guided by a higher aspect of wisdom and intelligence than what I'm normally aware of, because I'm tuning in to the deeper intelligence of my soulful intuition.
You know, it's my deepest hope that if you hear or you sense or you see an intuitive something for me, and you take the time to consider and you want to share that with me as my friend, then you will tell me that that comes from you, that comes from your deeper connection, that we don't say, well, the angels wanted me to tell you this, because maybe that is part of it, but I really do think the angels want us to own our own spiritual evolution in this process.
Yeah, and also we're going to perceive angels and spirit guides and all of this from the level of development that we're at. So if you're at a mythic level, you're going to see them as something that's real. They're outside of you, they're separate to you, they're not a part of you, and they're more wiser than you. But if you're at a higher level of development, you're looking at things from a more integral perspective, you're going to see it as a higher level of intelligence that is an aspect of your soul self or your luminous self that isn't incarnated into the realm of time and space, and you can draw from that information and activate it in the world. And in that way, you've got this, this multi-dimensional self that you can start to really communicate with.
Beautiful. Communicating with a multi-dimensional self. Can I just bring this in, Carly, from Rachel?
Yeah, I wish I could see that. I can't see where you're looking.
I have the power.
Oh, hang on. Now they're popping up. Did you just give me?
Okay.
Did you tell me what it is?
No, I didn't do anything. This isn't really a question, just an observation. I used to trust my intuition blindly, and now instead of coming to an immediate conclusion about a person or a situation based on a feeling, I'm asking myself, why do I really feel that way? And Rachel, do you find, if you can just type in around that, do you find that that is helpful for you, or are you feeling like that's more of a block, or is that something that is really supporting you in your life? This different way of being within yourself and those sort of intuitive information that comes through.
Yeah, because there's so much that could be going on with that one, Rachel. I love that. I have a friend who's very much into, she can totally, she'll almost instantly, the second she'll meet someone, she'll judge them as trustworthy or not trustworthy, in or out, worthy or not worthy of her time and space kind of thing. And it's not in a I don't like you kind of a way, it's just in a are you going to work for me kind of way. And she's been good at that ever since I can remember. But then as we get older, I think stuff starts to happen where we start to question whether that's okay or not, and we start to not trust our intuition. So I'm very curious, Rachel, as to whether you're still you're looking back on that and going, oh yeah, that still works. That intuition, that radar that I've got is still accurate or not. My friend's radar still is super accurate. She's doing so well. I'm amazed. I still can't believe it. But is there an answer coming back in there as to whether that's still?
No, not yet. Let me scroll up. There is somebody popping in and out of it, so I'm not sure whether that's Rachel or not.
Right.
Okay, so we'll keep going, but that's a great observation, and it does lead me to something around decoding and discerning our intuition, because I think when we have impulses arise within us that we may perceive as being intuitive impulses, and it is good to ask the question, is this mine?
Mm-hmm.
And just notice what arises in you. Notice how your body responds, because like you said, Carly, your nervous system, your body has so much information for you. So asking that question, is this mine? So if I'm perhaps, what might be arising in me is a very anxious, uncomfortable feeling, and I think back and I'm like, well, I don't know, nothing's really triggered it. I don't know where it's come from. Maybe I finished a day's work, that kind of thing. If I can go within and just check in and ask that internal question, is this mine? And just notice what arises in my body, because we need to get in touch with what's our body's yes and what's our body's no. What does that feel like? How does that show up? And some people use muscle testing, other people use pendulums, that kind of thing. I think that we can start to feel into the body's yeses and nos pretty well. And then, and then we can ask, is this someone else's? If that's not clearing things for us, that's not going that way for us, and remembering that if that arises, that yes, that's someone else's stuff, it will be triggering something in me. So if I'm feeling anxious in response to something else that's going on for someone, may not be about our interaction, then I can check into, well, what's showing up here for me? What within my story, within my process, is this triggering? And so it's very really useful. And that also shows up for me around the collective consciousness. So there have been times when I have awoken and been quite hit by a very strong feeling in my body that has come out of seemingly nowhere. and then gone to our beautiful online world and seen that something has happened in not a good way, and then am more able to understand that feeling. And it feels to me like I can do that quite well because I have a clear understanding of process within me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Oh, hang on, darling. So I'll just... No, sorry, carry on, Kelly. Yes?
You have the power.
I do. Carry on.
No, I think that's a really beautiful point, and I'd just like to go back into it for a moment. When you ask, is this mine? So to me, there seems like there's maybe at least 3 levels. So maybe we could consolidate into 3 main levels. Is this mine? So there's it could be about me, my stuff, my message, and about my story. Or it could be about the person in front of me, the person I'm talking to, the person right immediately with me. Or on another level, it could be on a more collective level and more out there in the world or society in general, or something that's coming into my sphere maybe, or not, but it's away from. It's more like I think what I'm saying is that, so there's a first person, second person, third person kind of perspective that we could look at this from. And if we nut it down into those 3 bits, then we can start to understand our own enmeshment with it, or our own entanglement, or how it's going to affect us. Because if it's not mine, then there's possibly a calmer way, a more grounded way that I can look at it than what maybe if it was mine. If it was mine, then I'm going to put more effort and intention into being grounded in it, so that I'm not scared of it or trying to back away from it or trying to change it. So I think the moment we stop trusting our intuition is when we don't like what it's telling us. We don't like how it feels, or we don't like the information we're getting, or we don't like the opportunity or the option it's presenting us. So I don't trust it.
That one, right. That is so true. Well, we have a perceived idea of how we want our life to show up. And so when we're being guided by our intuition to go a particular way, and perhaps that's not in alignment with the plan we have for our life, then
on a conscious level,
that causes then that causes a few problems. And it also means, like what I see, it's like a stack of cards. If you can pull that one piece out, then everything else will fall away, and your intuition will unblock again. So that's a really good thing to think of, Carly, when maybe you're feeling quite off with your intuition. I had it once and now I don't seem to be having it. Well, what is it within you that you're maybe not wanting to see? You're maybe not wanting to hear.
Yeah. Actually, let's just add to that as well. I can see there is another couple of things there which we should address. Yes. But what did you just say? Is it in me? No, you just said something. I had this brilliance coming through about that.
It comes in me, it goes out, and it's all gone.
Oh, it's come back. About whether we're trusting our intuition, whether it's working for us or not, or, I used to have it and now I've lost touch with it. There's a few reasons as to why I think we lose touch with it. One of them is what we've just been talking about, where we don't like it, or it's not in alignment with what I consciously perceive my world to be about. And another one is that we've started feeding the body in a way that just clouds it all. And so, like, maybe drinking a bit too much alcohol, or too much caffeine, or playing around with recreational drugs a bit much, or whatever it might be. There could be a whole plethora of things that we're putting in that's just clouding our field, so we're not in touch with our core in a way that we can be when we're practicing a cleaner way of practicing life, of eating, of exercising, and this sort of thing. And then the third way of blocking our intuition can be when we're just so overwhelmed with emotion about a certain situation. And I think that one's connecting back with the I don't like it, but it's just a different angle of it, where the overwhelm means that we're getting more cloudy with it.
Beautiful. Yeah. Those things kind of block the circuitry, and so then it's hard for us to for the information to come in. Yeah. Can I just track back a little bit here, Carly? So Rachel says in regards to that first comment, is that I have a history, I think it's of blocking people out, and it's a way for me to check in with myself if I'm really giving something a chance.
Ah, nice.
I really like that. So that, for me, what I hear in that, Rachel, is that there's discernment happening there around, well, is this, yeah, let me just check in. Is there any shadow? Is there any of my stuff in here? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and that's beautiful. That's definitely a beautiful way of looking into, I guess, really looking for the shadow, but also giving someone the chance, because situations and circumstances always shift and change too, don't they?
Yeah.
So, beautiful.
Yeah, like for me, really, really trusting my intuition, and also knowing that there'll be certain beliefs in my background, in my consciousness, that mean that I won't be as attracted to somebody as I might be if I'd cleared through that belief. And it actually, you know, could be a belief around my self-worth that is inhibiting that attraction, that connection. And I've really seen that play out over the years as I've done that work on myself in a really positive way, that I've been able to connect with people that perhaps prior to that I'd felt distant from, a little disconnected from, that kind of thing.
Right, beautiful. Yeah, and having, yeah.
No, carry on.
No, I was just going to really just emphasize what you said, is having that, again, that inner connection, so that there's an inner sense of integrity or alignment that happens in that statement that you were just talking about. That means that your head and where you're at in your mind space is in alignment with your heart, and that's in alignment with your gut, and that's in alignment with your soul. And we can get out of alignment in those areas through so many different ways, just by being human. That to go and reassess the situation, check back and go, wait a minute, does that set of rules or that way of viewing things that I've done all my life still work for me? And like Rachel said so beautifully, checking that they're, oh gosh, what's happened? Oh my goodness.
We can still hear you, honey. What's up?
Oh, can you hear everything? I've just closed out of one thing and started another thing just to come on track, and now it's playing somewhere else. There it is.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to move on to Connor's comment.
Yeah, okay. Please do. Gosh.
So Connor said, well, I know when I have a dream and it is beyond my personal story, as if I travel to connect with others. And I'm curious about your practices, skills that develop our intuition, or is it personal? Mm-hmm.
So, hang on. I've got some thoughts on that, but what have you got, Megan? I mean, I'm just finding again so I can read it to make sure. I have a history of block. No, that's that one there. Sorry.
It's all right.
Where's it gone?
Should I read it to you?
Yeah, please. I don't.
Okay.
This is ridiculous.
I'll read it again. Well, I know when I have a dream and it is beyond my personal story, as if I travel to connect with others. And I'm curious about your practices and skills that develop our intuition, or is it personal?
What
do you think, Carly? What do you do to develop your intuition?
The thing about dreams has got me a little bit sidetracked there, because there's an astral dreaming thing that can happen in there, which is quite exciting in the subtle realm.
Well, I have another whole call on that, right? Because that's really fun when that happens.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually another skill, another line of intelligence that we can work with building and getting better in. Just like spirituality, just like intuition, they're lines of intelligence, and that particular line of intelligence helps us play in the subtle realm a lot more. Which is very cool.
What would you call that line of intelligence, hon?
The astral dreaming line.
The astral dreaming line of intelligence?
I could probably come up with a better name, but I would say that we could even just call it the subtle realm intelligence in our experience of it. And even just knowing that there's a subtle realm puts you on the radar for that line of intelligence. But then once you know that there's a subtle realm, then there's the whole playing ground, the whole sandpit of how to actually evolve in that realm. So I'm not really sure what name we could give it, but I think we could just call it the subtle realm intelligence.
Okay.
So, Yeah, for now.
So what do you do, Hun, around your practices to develop your intuition?
Yeah.
Do you actually do anything? Is it something that naturally grows as a result of your spiritual evolution, or is it something you focus on specifically?
I think it's all of that, and
Mhm.
I think when we set the intention to evolve in our intuition, it naturally starts because we start developing that witnessing capacity and that ability to watch ourselves and observe other parts that's coming up, and we become less attached to the, like we talked about before, being the emotions, being the thoughts, being the body, and instead we start listening to how all of those aspects of our story of our being communicate with each other. So the practices that I do to do that is my yoga and my meditation, and as well as just watching how I respond in situations when I'm with people. And I'll notice I get very nervous around people I don't know, and so I can be like the swan where I'm gracefully sliding across the top, and underneath my little feet are going, whoa, you know, trying to keep the balance. And so as I sit in that place, I'll really feel into me and go, all right, so is this my stuff? Is this something in the field around me? And once I can sort of go through those questions, and or is it something that's happening on an astral level around that I'm not aware of in my proximity on a logical linear level yet, then I can start to feel into me. And if it's my stuff, then I'll come straight to my breath. In fact, even if it's not my stuff, the first thing I'll do is come straight to my breath and take a big, deep breath into the belly, and I'll feel my whole entire lower belly expand right out in that really fat tabu way that us women hate to do. And I will expand my whole entire stomach out so I can fully breathe into it. And then as I exhale and I come back in, then at the bottom of the exhalation, I can engage at my core and send that energy down through my feet so that I can ground. And I'll feel it rebound back up through my body and out through the crown of my head, so that my head and my feet are connected with everything in between. And once I know I'm embodied and grounded and connected in that place, then I can start to make sense of the intelligence of the wisdom that's coming through and the intuition. Or not. Maybe I just got something out of the field that's not mine, or whatever, or it doesn't make sense, or I was just reacting, you know, on a more mature level that doesn't serve me anymore, and I'm correcting that. Does that, I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's
Waffle.
great. That's great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So my
What do
experience around that is, and I think as we all do, you know, quite a natural capacity for intuition that showed up in
yeah.
dreams and feelings and vision as well, but not really being able to direct it. So particularly when I've wanted intuition to come, when I was younger, it was so limited by my wants and desires and needs and all that kind of thing that I really couldn't hear it, see it, feel it. So over the years, meditation has played a huge part. But first of all, I really think you spoke to it, Carly, is that we need to have an intention to grow our intuition, because we can do 20 years of meditation, but if we are not interested in learning that deep languaging of intuition, we're just not going to look for it. We're not going to see it. It's possibly not going to show up in that way. So having that intention to open intuition to your intuition is key. And I have just found, as I deepen into my work over the years, along with meditation, doing very deep work on my own process, my own birth story, traumas, that kind of thing, clearing that out, that has all really helped my intuition to become clearer and grow more. And there's something that happens now when I'm working one-on-one, and I'm sure many of the women watching this, including you, Carly, will experience this, is that when I go and sit with a client, just suddenly it's like a switch. It turns on. It's there. I am hearing information. I am seeing things in the body. I am feeling, and it's very easy to test whether it's real or not with clients, because you can just check out with them. Hey, is this showing up for you? I'm noticing this. Are you aware of this? And so that's become a beautiful training ground, actually, for my intuition. I really think my work has been such a wonderful way for it to grow and distill into being something very specific and something I can really work with in my everyday life as well.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about that, whole process of when you sit down with someone else and tuning into them, it doesn't have to be in person either, because a lot of my work's over Skype. And I had this beautiful session recently with a client, and I could feel my whole heart space starting to get real choked up and constricted. And she's 6,000 miles away in a completely different country to me. And I'm feeling it. And so I'm telling her, oh, I'm feeling it right here, right now. And I just want to ask you what it's like to breathe down into your belly. And I knew right there and then she couldn't breathe past here. She couldn't get down there. And so that gave us this beautiful fertile ground from which we could discuss what was happening in this area and this area to block her from getting down deeper and following through with that. So intuition is such a visceral thing. It's such a felt sense thing. It's so alive in our body. And when we can learn to really understand that, oh, this isn't my stuff, this is somebody else's stuff. Well, this isn't this is that. But we don't know it unless we really set that intention to learn it, to train it, and then to trust it. And if we don't trust it because we don't like it, then that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
So Connor made a comment that I want to share, hun. It's from back a little way, but she said that's the second time I've received that swan image recently. Thanks.
Oh, I love the swan image.
Yeah. And yes, dreaming is one of my realms, and I lucid dream as well. No, I am dreaming, and I love that. Yeah, and it's something that is, I think many of us are very active in that dream field, and it's something that it's good to acknowledge it. Yeah, because there's a lot that goes on in that field.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's a field that I haven't done too much actual research into, but I've started looking into which path I will go down when I have the next bit of space for what I want to dive into next. And I've, in my travels, come across 3 highly recommended books and authors and audio programs and things. So I will post those in the temple for anyone interested in doing some of that work in a way that there's so much confusing stuff out there, and I think these people, I've come across them through another course that Megan and I are doing, and so I'll post that out there in the temple anyway, and you guys can check into it, and we'll save that for another topic. I wanted to, Megan, when we were talking about setting up this talk, I know we're getting towards the end of our time, but there's one little piece that I wanted to cover. Actually, is this going to immediately turn us off after an hour? It probably is,
might,
isn't it?
so you better hustle, woman.
All right. Well, we had a little talk about whether it was our perceptions that was driving our autonomic nervous system and creating our intuition to act into play, or was our body-mind field driving our perceptions and kicking the autonomic nervous system off into play. And you had some really interesting insight around that I 100% agree with, but that you were able to put into much better context than I think I will be able to. Do you remember?
Are you asking me to do that now?
Yeah, I am, in the next 3 minutes.
Honey, I'm really bad at when I receive information like that and it comes through me and I speak it, then I really find it hard to replicate it later.
Oh,
I'm
all right.
just a clear channel. So perhaps it may not stop us. Just ask me it again, and I'll dig
Well,
in.
let me ask it like this: do you think your perceptions of the world around you inform your intuition, or do you think your body and and your past experiences are what are informing? No, the question's not coming out right.
Because it's both and for
It's
me.
both
so
and, yeah.
The perceptions of the world around us are in our body, as we talked about. Hey, Carly, our subconscious shows up in our body.
Yeah, yeah.
As does our superconscious.
Totally. There's no real boundary between the two. Yeah. No, let's leave it at that. We can open that up for another one because there is a whole bit in there, and we'll nail that one down and open up because I think it'll be very interesting for another talk.
All right, and you can ask me those hairy questions another time.
I will bring them back up into play.
That's great.
So yeah.
What would be what would be one thing you would do if you wanted to increase your capacity to hear and feel and access your intuition? What would be the one thing you would do?
The first thing I'd do was set the intention for that. And the second thing I would do would be to start observing myself and start testing it and start seeing how my body-mind responds in situations that I have a felt sense over. And then I'll look back with hindsight and look at it and go, was my felt sense prior accurate? And if it was, then I'll get an idea of how to trust it. Because then it'll give me the capacity to trust it in situations when on a mental level I really don't want to, because it doesn't line up with what I like in this moment.
Yeah. And so very simply for me, when I hear you say that, Han, I think about, you can start with very simple things. Where should we go for dinner? What should we do today? What book shall I read? Yeah. And rather than thinking about it with our thinking mind, and I know many of you women will have the skill down anyway, we drop out of our mind, as we talk about so often, into the heart and ask the question from the heart space, from that deep heart space. What shall we do today? What is going to bring us the most joy? And then just allow to arise whatever arises. You may hear your intuition, you may see intuition, you may feel it in your body, you may have those gut responses. It could just show up as a concept, an idea, a deep knowing. Our intuition comes to us in many different ways.
Yeah.
So getting really good at that. Sorry. Getting really good at that small, simple stuff, and really knowing what that feels like inside yourself before we sort of move into applying it to much bigger, more important decisions in our life.
Beautiful. And I think that the key in all of that is dropping out of the head and into that heart space, because the head's going to try and figure it out. The brain mind is going to be all, and it's going to try and have all these logical ideas and everything. But you drop into the heart space, and it's got its own consciousness, it's got its own mojo going on, and it's going to be much more expanded, much more open, much more loving, much more calm, much more relaxed, much more receptive. And when you fall into that receptivity, that's when you can really hear what's going on a deeper level. Yeah.
Beautiful. So here is to our beautiful, divine, intuitive capacities that we all have.
Yeah.
And that we can all access and grow our relationship with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been really fun and inspiring.
Yeah, it really has, and thanks for putting up with us and our technological ineptness. We will work it out.
Do we leave the really sappy bit at the start in, or should we cut it out for people? We can tell them to skip forward.
Yeah, I don't think I need to share my pants with everybody, do I?
Oh, but that was gorgeous. We'll see. We'll see what Connor and Rachel say, and the votes will be cast, Carly.
Let's do that. All right, gorgeous ones.
Thank you both for joining us. Lots of love. See you soon. Can I invite you? I'm going to invite you. That one. Now, who's this? Ah, that's you who wrote the question. I see you. Let me see if I can find you. Good lordy, lordy. I want to. No, I don't want to hide. I want to have you speak, my darling. Hey,
Hi. Are we there?
we're there. I can see you. Was that hard to sign in?
No, it was just the same as before, but it says my video is not on, but you can see me, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I can see you
No,
fine.
it's all just the same as it was before. Okay, great.
It's
Okay,
not very,
great.
it's not very clear,
So,
but it should be all right with the broadcast. So honey, so you were able to just click
yeah,
on the invite and come in?
just the same as we've done it in the past. It was no different.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me just
Yeah. So,
double check a Rooney.
double check a Rooney away. I'm not sure what you're double checking, but I'm sure it's
Oh,
important.
yeah, I just want to have my eye on our Facebook group in case we have some people show up live, which would be lovely. And
Michelle says good luck. Looking forward to reading the results.
watching, darling Michelle.
No, she says reading.
I see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. She will have a recording. Well, so
Yay.
there were a few people who were going to come on. Are you Facebook friends with them?
Yep, who was going to come? Ellie?
Rachel and Ellie.
Yeah. Shall I?
Well, we'll just wait a minute or two. It's only early, and I know these things take a little while, but perhaps you could message them if. Oh, now I can't find you. There you
Yeah.
are.
I'm just going to
Yeah.
message Ellie now.
Yeah. When you type, it makes your computer wobble.
Oh, it does. It's because it's in a special place.
Hey, I think now what am I trying to say? I don't think it has hosts and that kind of thing. I mean, if anything, I am, but if people talk, they will just come on. So we will have to, if they arrive, we'll have to ask them to be quiet or to mute their microphone until it's time to talk. And just let them know that sound makes it flick between us. So I'm not actually sure how to change that. But anyway, we'll learn as we go along.
Okay.
What does
Yeah.
hide from broadcast mean? I don't want to hide you, then lose you.
Don't lose me.
No.
I don't have that option. All I've got is a little live thing up top.
Okay, so you can't. Oops,
I think you're in control again.
Yeah. Oh, we know that's a dangerous path. I can mute people, and I can hide them from the broadcast.
You are the god, yes.
I am all powerful, my darling. So we'll just see how we go. You're our one viewer. Welcome, Carly.
I love it.
It's good. It's good to test in this way, though. This no pressure way.
It is.
Darling, I'm going to just test and hide you from the broadcast for a sec, and I want to see. I want to see what happens. Oh, right. So yeah. Okay. So what happens? What? Yeah. You should be back now. You can talk now. Talk. I should have unhid you. Oh no, you're muted. Hang on. Okay, now talk. Oh, you're broken. Now you can talk.
I'm unmuting. I
Yeah.
unmuted me. You muted me and I unmuted me.
Okay, well that's good. Okay, so when I hid you from the broadcast, it didn't matter what noise you made, it was just on me.
Right, okay.
So you better behave yourself.
Or else I'm out.
No, you're in again. You're in again. But you better behave yourself or I'll flick you out.
I will. I'm just like,
Be a good girl.
oh my goodness. So is it going to flick between us now, or is it? Because
Yes, it will.
now it seems to be just staying on you.
Oh, that is what happens though when you're a watcher. Although, was it flicking before?
I think it was.
We'll try clicking on your little box and see what happens.
Oh, okay. Then I get you. Me. I mean.
And then is it flicking between us?
No.
What?
But I think I'll just leave it on you because you're much prettier for me to look at right now.
Oh, you look beautiful today.
Oh,
You're all goddessy and beachy. Not that you live near the beach. But...
See my new pants.
Oh my goodness. Oh, reptilian. Let's have a look. I need to be quiet so I can see them.
Hang on.
Woohoo! I want some of those. You know what they look like? They look like Matrix pants.
Oh, they're fabulous. I just got them for teaching on Sunday. I haven't even earned them yet.
I want them. Can I buy them online?
Oh. I'll get you a pair and send them over if you want.
Okay, how much are they though first? They better not be a couple of hundred.
No, they're $24.
Oh yes, sweet ass. I'll have 3 pairs.
Yeah, she's got a few different sorts in there right now. I have to take photos of them and show you what they look like so you can decide. Okay,
great, because I would like a pair. Do me first though before you do the other sisters, otherwise they'll jump on it.
Well, you might. Let's discuss this later in case we've got friends jumping in.
All right. We don't appear to have right now, so
Okay.
Oh, hang on, someone's here, Rachel. Now, how do we get her?
Rachel, you can hear us,
Rachel. We've already gone into Giggle Zone.
Yeah, we're going to come out of Giggle Zone any moment here because my pants are doing the job.
I wonder if I click on you, Rachel. Can we type in that chat or not? Is it
yes, you can. I've already typed something in there to you saying I'm checking in.
All right. I can't seem to type now. I'm going to select and see if we can. Thanks for joining us, Rachel. We're still learning this technology.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on?
What's happening?
Oh. Yeah, oh, gosh, there's a bit of a delay. Where are you, darling?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks.
I'm here.
Okay, because I pressed... Oh, gosh. This is turning into a Chaos on Air Part 2.
No, I might select Rachel and just bring her on just to double check how things are working her end and that, because there's only one other person, it's only her, so we'll just say hi and see how she's going if we can.
Yeah, let's.
I think I can do that. No.
It doesn't say she is in the video call though in the chat box. It just says you and I are here.
Oopsie. Hello, Rachel. Okay. Rachel, if you can hear us and see the video, can you just type in another question that you can, and that way we'll be a little clearer on what's happening.
Because at the moment we're really not.
Just us two.
She saw my post at 3:03 on Facebook. My message.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I thought Ellie would.
Did you not type the question there, Carly?
I did. There is a question I typed in. Can't you see it?
No.
Or maybe it's in a different place. I'm a little bit confused about a couple of things right now. If I open up the link on this Temple talk that we posted in the Temple Facebook group.
Yes, that would be good.
I'm just opening that up. now because I had it open before and it was playing us from before. Okay,
I think Rachel might need to click on a different link.
Oh, she's played a poster there. She's going, hi Rachel. We're both hilarious.
Hi, sweetheart. Can you see her?
We're doing Chaos on Air Part 2, I think. Our
Mm-hmm.
intuition's telling us that that's okay.
Yeah, it makes a lot of fun, huh?
Yeah. So I'm just play on the thingy inside the Google Plus thing. Oh, and it says my browser doesn't recognize this at all. That's handy.
So what did oh, I need to see what Rachel's posted. I don't understand what's happening.
If you click on the link that you so Wanda posted in the Facebook temple,
yeah.
that's what I've just done, and then you'll see that she's posted on the actual event and said that
great.
she's here. So
Great.
Thanks, Rachel, for being our little test.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, see, now when I go on and press play now where it says live.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just going to invite you, Rachel. That's what I'm going to do. Hang on 1 second.
I don't get it.
See.
Aren't we lucky that not that many people pay attention to us right now?
Rachel, I need to see what you look like. Oh, I don't know what you look like. I want to invite you. I'm going to add you.
Can you do that?
And then I'm going to, yes, and then I'm going to see if I can invite her. Because there's two Rachels.
I thought people could just... It's Rachel Plotkin, I believe.
There's 3 Rachel Plotkins in there.
What?
All look lovely.
Is Connor here too? Connor's here. She's just trying to get us to see her. Hi, Connor. But if I press play on the live screen, it just replays it back with a delay.
Yeah, but you're already in there, sweetheart. Oh, Rachel, there you are.
Yeah. Currently answering. Rachel says, I'm with you ladies, ready to learn. When was that? Gosh, we're ready to learn too. Who knows how to work Google? We're much better at intuition.
It's not intuitive, is it?
No, it's not. Oh, hang on. Someone's Facebook me. Is that Rachel? I know how Facebook works. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is.
Who's
Hi, Rachel. Okay. Okay, so Rachel's just Facebooked me and she says that she can basically see and hear us and that my pants are lovely. Thank you, darling. No, I love them.
You want some too? I want some.
Yeah, do you want some too? There's 4 more pairs left in the studio where I'm teaching on Sunday.
Where's Connor? Clearly we've got a bit to learn.
Yes, we have, and I think what we should do is if they can hear us, which Rachel's confirmed, then we'll just get started.
Okay, great. Oh, it's a
shame
because it's a small group, so I was hoping to bring you guys on to say hi and, you know, what's up for you around that kind of thing. But that's okay.
Well, they can. You just they can type in and we can respond to the typing.
All right.
Do you see where that works, darling?
Yeah, I'm just in a slightly different place now. Okay, well, we've got a bit to learn, all right. Sorry, I'm just faffing around. Okay, well, let's begin because really people don't want to sit here watching us wrangle with Google.
Faff around.
Again.
Again, no, we've done that.
Yeah, we've done that.
Okay,
thanks.